Hi everyone, today I'm talking about the Book of the New Sun. I have recently finished a book and I am very much thrilled about this book. I've become wiser than I was before. If I was wise, I'm now more wiser. This is a book of wisdom, I would say. It's a book of spirituality, of philosophical thoughts, and an exciting story. And it's very, very layered and it has a lot of symbolism. It's connected to, I would say, Christian thoughts, Catholicism, it seems like. You can tell me if you think otherwise. No matter religion, religious books and spiritual messages has always a strong power, no matter what belief or faith you have. So I think this is very rewarding to read about. It's a lot about moral issues, choices, what is truth, what is identity, what is love, all these kind of things. So if this tickles you and triggers you, I think you should really get into this book, which is a sci-fi fantasy. Gene Wolfe is the author. He wrote this in the 80s, if I'm correctly informed. He died 2019. He got a lot of prizes or awards for this book, and that has been, that not without reason, I would say. And the Shadow of the Torture, that's the first book, and that's the one I'm going to talk about. We'll start to read the summary on the back for you. What is this about? Severian, a torturer's apprentice, is exiled from his guild after falling in love with one of his prisoners. He shows her mercy. That's against the code, the ethical code of the torturer's guild. He is also an orphan, which in itself is very interesting. He then is armored with the ancient executioner sword Terminus Est, and he must make his way across the perilous ruined landscape of the far future Earth. And he finds a mystical gem. It's called the Claw of the Conciliator. He doesn't know if this is an accident or is it fate or why does he get this. And actually this book is written by him. He's now older. He looks back. He seems to have had a successful career now, if I understand it right, now being the autarch, a kind of emperor or a dictator maybe. I haven't grasped everything in this book. It's very layered, and I'm only read the first book, and I've avoided to read things on the web about the book too. This book is also translated many times during different eras, it seems like. So what is written here is not the first account or the original account, and it's also explained by Gene Wolfe in the end of the book that translations has been revised, changed many times. The words for different animals are not the correct ones. The titles are merely, approximately what the title could be in our language. If it's something archaic, it's written in Latin. Also, I would say items that they find, like the sword, for example. We don't know if that was really the name. From what I understand, we don't know that. So we don't know if what we are reading is actually true. It also seemed like Severian wants to put himself in a to give himself a positive picture, that people will, like him, and so on. We don't know if that is true. We don't know if he hides things. I don't know either. I can guess sometimes, but I don't know, and we'll see. There are a few things I would like to mention. Yeah, he's expelled, as I said. He's also an orphan. He grows up in this very strong value system, from where he's later then expelled, then going on to a journey, search, not, I would say, for his identity, that would be a cliche, but some he tries to, I think, revive himself to become something new in relation to himself and in relation to his environment. When he is expelled, he is sent to the city of Thrax, or he's going to the city of Thrax, and they have a need of an executioner. As I said, he gets this sword. He also get a letter. He later finds a gem. This is, I would say, no real spoiler, but because this is all on the back of the book. And while he's on this journey, he meets a lot of strange people, characters that are giants, that are fantasy creatures, that are human-like or humans. But the characters are all quite, I would say, fable-like or maybe allegorical in nature. And usually it's not so much how they look like, I think, descriptions on how they look like. It's more about what they say. It's like you hear them in the background of your head almost. And all the discussions he has with people seems to be strongly symbolic, strongly layered, strongly spiritual. I have a few quotes I would like to tell you about. And the first one is this one on page 17 in this version of the book. And it says, "We believe that we invent symbols. The truth is that they invent us. We are the creatures, shaped by their hard defining edges. So we believe that we invent symbols. We believe that we invent meaning. We believe that we know what's happening. Severin has a very strong memory, it's said, or perfect memory, it's said. Well, I don't know about that. Let's see. Probably not. And if you look up symbols in the book, for example, I think there is a library here mentioned, and if you Google that, for example, and Google it not on, in relation to the book, you will find, a great library from Mesopotamia, for example. If you Google symbols, you will find symbols from thousands of years in humanity's history. I think this is wonderful, and as you know, this triggers me, similar to Erickson with his archaeological knowledge. This is, I think, fantastic if you're really into this, and if you have a great imagination and if you have a good connection to your spiritual self, I think you should read this. This is considered to be a science fiction, and I'm sure it is, but when you read it, I think it's more of a fantasy, or maybe if someone had told me, I wouldn't have guessed what it was. I think it's crosses many genres in a way, both in the writing, which is very, very poetic, very beautiful. Like Erickson, I would say, very, very beautiful. But I think maybe that Gene Wolfe does it actually more consequently than Erickson does, because he also has a lot of entertainment. Maybe not so entertainment. This is more like a philosophical book with a lot of philosophical musings, reflections, and so on. As I said, he's an orphan. I will repeat that because I think that's an important thing. He's raised, get his values, and then has to reinvent himself in many, many ways, it seems like. He also dreams a lot about different things, and dreams seems like nothing special in the world of fantasy and science fiction. But he dreams early in the book about different thoughts he has, about, you could say, different theories, about different visions that he has that guides him. Seems a little bit like the Dark Tower, the Gunslinger, at least in the first book. No comparisons in other ways, but somehow I wonder if Stephen King has read the Book of the New Sun. He probably has done that, right? Don't you think so too? When he's expelled from the guild, he has become a journeyman. It's a learned, an apprentice in the guild, as I understand it. And he wants to become, a master of this skill, but he is expelled. So that's something that is probably a big change for him. He also gives this prisoner mercy, as I told you. One interesting fact there, I think, is that he borrows a lot of books for her, and they have a lot of discussions. And one thing I found it funny is that she's, because he thinks she's very wise and deep, etc. And he asks her about that, and then she said like that, yeah, this is only because I'm in prison. If I would live my ordinary life, I wouldn't do this or have time with this, or I just do this because I'm here. And it seems like I have nothing else to do. And in this one of these books that I found, it's called the Books of Wonders of Earth and Sky, and this is on page 64. So I shall look it up for myself and then tell you what it's all about. And that says that Wonders of Earth and Sky was a standard work 300 or 400 years ago. It relates most of the familiar legends of ancient times. To me, the most interesting is that of the historians which tells of a time which every legend could be traced to half-forgotten fact. You see the paradox, I assume. Did the legend itself exist at the time? And if not, how came it to the existence? How came legends into existence, and can we believe it? Maybe. What is guiding us? What is truth? Many of these questions arise. There is also many, you could say, parables, I would say. There is one also connected to these books that are mentioned. It's about it's about this. Tell me this. Suppose two collaborate in the robbing of a grave, and one takes the right hand for his share and the other the left. Does he who ate the right hand have but half the dead man's life, and the other the rest? And if so, what if a third were to come and devour a foot? It's a pity you are a torturer, a person says to Severian, and you might have been a philosopher. Maybe Severian is a philosopher. Is the life in the finger too? I think these are very interesting questions. And if you are triggered by this, you probably think so too. Other things that are taken up in the book is that the Severian has no, if he has a religion. So if you're tortured, you have no religion. That's how it's expressed in the book. Let's see. It's also about power. On page 93, there is a quote, who is the autarch, or maybe the dictator, or the man in power? The autarch is a man that just believes that he is the autarch, or he is the dictator, let's say dictator, or the king, or the queen for that matter too. He believes he is that, and he makes others believe that through strength. So what is power? So I'm throwing out all these questions to you. This book has made me start to think about these issues. It also talks about what is real. Connection to this as well. It's discussions on the, I think it's called Theocenter. And sorry for waiting, that's a dead sin on YouTube, but I know that you, my viewers, are patient people, so maybe not so many more followers sometimes, but you who stay, you are patient, and I'm want to connect with you. Yeah, perhaps we are drawn to the Theocenter. What is theocentric? I looked that up. To have God as a focus for thoughts and feelings. That's what the Hierophant is a priest who interprets mysteries, rites, and so on. A priest from the ancient Greece. So this echoes heritage, I would say, ancient wisdom, all the book through. I encourage you to read this book because it's also an exciting story. You can read his journey, his adventure, his meeting with very, very strange characters, and he's fighting. And I think the environment and the landscape is very much up for your imagination. As I said, I couldn't really guess that this was science fiction. He's in the jungle, he's in the nature, he is on in a fort or a citadel, which I assume is some kind of spaceship-like environment, but that's not really clear. Actually, this feels more like a fort, an old prison from maybe the Game of Thrones or something. He's in the jungle, yes, he's in the forest, as I said, and he's in the city and in different shops, for example, and everything feels very strange when it comes to environment. So it triggers my imagination to paint the pictures all for myself. Gene Wolfe doesn't really help us with that, but he seems to have knowledge what to trigger in ourselves, almost as Carl Jung, the psychiatrist, what's it, the psychology, the what's it, psychologist, right? And it triggers memories inside our heads, our minds. It triggers our own imagination, our fantasy, our own pictures. So actually, this one I wouldn't want to become a movie, for example. Let us keep this in our heads and in our imagination. As I said, the writing is poetic. It makes me very, very curious to know more and to read again. As I said, the characters are flat, the story are layered, and as I said, nature and descriptions gives a lot to our imagination. Sometimes people say that the author doesn't, hold our hand. It's the same with Erickson, Stephen Erickson, the Malazan Book of the Fallen. But you can make it another statement of that the author doesn't hold your hand because it allows you to fill up the gaps and the pictures and everything that happens with your imagination. I think so far Book of the New Sun is a lot about imagining things, understanding things in your soul, thinking about all the moral issues, philosophical issues that Severian meets and tackles. I would like to say something about the ending of the book as well, and without spoiling anything, you feel really locked inside the Severian's world, I would say, until the end of the book, where, without spoiling things, a lot of things opens up, both visually, but also when it comes to events. But we can say visually, because if you read the book, you know hopefully what I mean, because they seem stuck in the location where they are during the whole book, and it's quite difficult sometimes to orientate where you are location-wise, so to speak. There is no maps like in Malazan Book of the Fallen, which you can see all the streets in the city, for example. You have to imagine yourself. So this was my reflections on the Book of the New Sun. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you can give me more food for thought in the comments. I hope to discuss this book, as I said, with other booktubers. I think I became more spiritually rich by this book and more curious to continue, which I already started to read the second book. I hope I can understand things a little bit more. But for me, the mystery is more important than the plot. To have things to ponder, to reflect about. I think that's one of the main charms or the main positives with this book. It triggers you to really think about life. So that said, looking forward to see your comments. If you like the video, subscribe and like, of course, and share if you want to do that, and comment, of course. So until next time, see you. Bye.